name is John. This is Bella, and I'm really excited to be exploring the gateway of divine indulgence, a particularly meaningful gene key in my personal hologenetic profile, and I think also a particularly meaningful gateway for the collective humanity in terms of the direction for our evolution. So today, what I want to discuss and work with is not only looking at what is this opportunity for this gateway, but what is kind of a deeper existential reality for human beings in the form that we exist now that may be different from the potential that we are moving toward, and how can we begin to incorporate these into our being. Um, but before we get into that, I want to make a quick announcement. This Friday is a full moon, and this is another one of those big deal full moons in the lunar cycles around the year. It is going to be also taking place while the sun is in this current transit of gate 56. So Bella and I are hosting an open house for those of you on Facebook who have been following the Lunar Alchemy discussions. This will also give you an opportunity to receive one of the quantum healing transmissions for entrainment into the higher frequency expressions that we do every Tuesday night in Lunar Alchemy with our solar members. So if you're interested in that, you will see the registration link in the comments. Let me just get that in there. Looks like I'm going to have to do that. So that's what we're looking at. Bella, I'm going to make you a host so that you can share a visual. But Bella, what I want to get into today is there's so much going on with this particular gateway. The sun is moving through gate 56. We just entered that yesterday. There's so many things going on with the other planetary transits, the relationships between the other gene keys. But a few of the things I really want to focus on today, first of all, gene key 56 is the second gene key that we've dealt with that is part of the stop codons. So one of the terminator codons in this ring of trials. So we had a few weeks ago where we were in gate 12, and here we are in another one within that. So that holds a particular significance. On top of that, this particular gene key looks at what is holding humanity in its current state of being and what that role is in terms of the collective evolution. We're looking at the gene keys in terms of this, and human design in general in terms of this movement of evolution that is going towards this precipice of the year 2027, where this kind of great awakening is predicted to occur. How does this particular gene key relate into that? So with those things in mind, Bella, I'm curious to hear your view on what's going on. You were just sharing with me some of the distractions present for you in a regular day. Where do you want to go looking at all of these potential directions?
Yeah, I do feel like we could bring up the chart and just look at it from that perspective.
Great.
And I don't know why I can't see the chart. That's funny. It's going to take 1 second, I think. Preview.
Okay, I got that registration link posted. I really can't talk and do anything else at the same time.
Yeah, so
It's
this is,
that distraction. I have 56 in my pearl, and like anything that where I'm just I just can't I can't deal.
yeah, so this is the chart for right now. And like you were saying, we have the sun here in the 56. And it has been, I think it was Saturday or Sunday that it was completely opposite Pluto. So really what I feel, it has been times of transformation, with times of rebirth. Uh, and with what we were speaking about a few weeks ago with Mars and Venus here in Leo meeting, I do feel it has to do with relationships that maybe aren't nurturing anymore, are not empowering anymore. That would be the themes here. They might need to die. They might need to transform. So that feels like that is very powerful. And maybe it is also that those relationships are a distraction. And I feel like, one of the things that can happen is that I know we've spoken about it before, the comfort. You go into something and it feels comfortable. And I even think that the 56 can be about false leadership. So it is on the cusp between Cancer and Leo. So you think that to have that house, to have that car, to be two parents that live together with the kids, like there is this Cancer fourth house that, yeah, at least we are a family. There is no intimacy, there's no fun anymore, but at least we are a family. And then the other part of it on the other side of the cusp is Leo. So that's all about self-empowerment. It's all about fun. It's all about being on stage. So that also, when you're comfortable and not outside your comfort zone, then it's like, I believe that even your audience is kind of going to have that same frequency, and you're not going to move forward. And also archetypically, when we look at Cancer and Leo, this is ruled by the moon and this is ruled by the sun. So really we have those polarities that are important to look at. So that's something that I feel is important. Whose life are you living out? We see the 56 in the throat center, and here in an open throat center, it means there is outside influence. So when you have it in an open throat center, especially, it can be, okay, you're seeking approval or attention. That's the not self. And if this is how you believe, or you're conditioned to think that you're supposed to live, maybe you are compromising on the nurturing or on the leadership and self-leadership. That feels very, very important right now. And there's also something about, when I was looking at, the Earth is in the 60, we have Saturn in the 19, and we have Pluto in the 61. So the 61 and the 19 have been there for a while because it's the outer planet. So I was looking at the codon ring of Gaia, and this is the blueprint that all beings, the ring of Gaia holds the blueprint that all beings that share this planet Earth will eventually once again live in union. This genetic grouping allows or prevents awareness to move between different life forms and connect all beings on Earth along the same initiatory journey. And I can continue, but there is something here too. It wants us to come together, and it wants us to come together in a way that is true and aligned. The 19 is about codependency. So that goes back to that 56. Are you living in codependency? Then we have Jupiter in the 55, freedom. Are you in victimization and freedom? Because do you think that if you leave, you might not have the kids, or you might not have the Mercedes, or there can be a lot of beliefs. Jupiter is about belief system, and limitations is the 60, and the 61 is like, do you dare to have the inspiration to transform your life? Do you dare to think transcendently in the sixth line of the 61? So, and then we have this reflector chart right now, so it feels like all of the possibilities are there, and here the G center is about the self, it's about direction, it's about love. It's like you can have all the love stories, you can be who you want to be, and you can know what love is and what leadership is, and you can be the way shower of your own direction. So that second gene key, you can see this magical number. For me, this is powerful. I have the 2.4 in my life's work. So now I have Uranus coming up, almost like coming up to my life's work, but it's going retrograde before it touches it. So I feel like I have this like pre-taste of what it's going to be next time it comes along and it actually goes over. And it is about I mean, it's not so comfortable for Taurus. It wants also that foundation and can be comfortable together with what we have said before, to actually feel Uranus come in and like radically change things in a way that isn't expected. So that's something I believe that we all are here to learn to hold right now. What is, and a lot with the second line, especially, it's going to be in partnership again. It's going to be with the other. And the second house, or the two, is all, it is about stability. So there's something here where stability that can get shaken, especially when it has to do with relationships. And there are all the possibilities in the world if you have the courage to live from your true self and not to go off in distraction in something that actually isn't in sovereignty. So yeah, that's what I feel. John, what do you feel with all this?
Well, it's amazing how that, to me, that it's kind of like you're painting a picture of this moment in time with all of these particular influences going on. And my overall way of seeing, and perhaps this is because of the placement that the 56 gene key has in my profile, but my focus tends to be extraordinarily narrow. Not that it can't encompass all of these disparate ideas or complementary influences that are going on, but the way that I engage with those is through this single pointed placement. And when you're looking at all of these influences, that the sort of influence that Pluto is having with the Mars and the Venus, and encouraging that sense of union, when you were talking about the codon ring of Gaia, there's all of these things going on, gene key 55 and the freedom. All of these things are like, to me, it's like this sort of, like before water boils, it starts to simmer. It's like all of these elements of influences are causing the that liquidy matter of what we are to start simmering, to the point where we can move into a transformation from one state into another state, from water into gas, in terms of our physical matter. But all of these things point in the direction of what the siddhi of this particular gate expresses: divine intoxication. This, I love the image of the drunken master. If you've ever seen those old Jackie Chan movies, or even the American remake of those films, it's about this martial artist master who appears to be constantly drinking some form of alcohol and just completely, unable to function, staggering around, but at the same time is able to create these feats of incredible physical mastery. This state of consciousness that is pointed towards from this gateway of the 56, to me, it speaks to what is the human predicament. How do we experience ourselves as a human being in the world, and this shadow of distraction? In the gene keys, Richard Rudd describes the shadow of distraction as being focused within our relationship to the five senses. So what are the things outside of us that are going to distract us? Sure, we can look at things like cell phones and television and all sorts of technological things that we experience in our lives for comfort or entertainment or what have you. But essentially, it's pointing towards, okay, what are the things that we focus on that are a distraction from the truth of our inner being. And what I keep coming to with these ideas of union, Bella, that this simmering water is pointing towards, and this shadow of distraction, is the fact that a human being is inherently created within boundaries. We have a physical boundary to our beingness, our physical bodies, and the distraction that is generated by that experience of self and other. You know, why is this shadow of distraction, why does it even function? Well, because we have this idea that there is a self and there is something outside of the self that is determined by this boundary. And so we can seek that which is other, whether it's material entertainment or mental entertainment, physical entertainment, what have you, because we have this perception that the things that are outside of our boundaries are not ourselves, which is in direct contrast to what all these things are pointing towards: partnership, union, divine harmony across all of these spaces. All of those things are looking at the dissolving of these boundaries, of no longer perceiving that which is outside us as something different from ourselves. And to me, once you begin to witness all of the elements in life as an aspect of yourself, those judgments of negative things that may be intoxicants or distractions in our lives, they become vehicles for enrichment. So that's where I end up looking at, and what I feel like the picture you're painting, Bella, with all of these influences is pointing us towards, is how can we move from this placement of seeing the self as this individual separated from everything around us, that we can continually choose this process of distraction. How can we move beyond that into this state of enrichment?
Yeah, two things come up for me when I hear you. And the first thing, or the second thing that came up, but the first thing I want to speak about is, from my perspective, I believe that I see more separation within a being, even than between beings. And that's the fragmentation that kind of catches my eye more. And this can be as simple as working with a Venus sequence, where we can see that the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual are pulling us in different direction. And sometimes we aren't as aware of it as what you are speaking about with me and you, me and the other. And I believe that it influences us or affects us more when there is an inner fragmentation, because somehow, like you're saying, we're like, but I'm just me. No, but there are all these things in you that are pulling on you, and that makes it completely impossible for you on the outside with the other to have a relationship where there is harmony, because there's no harmony in yourself. So that's even, kind of going back one more step of like, why do we see so much dissonance, so much discord, so much division in the world? Well, it's just a reflection of what's on the inside. So I always pointed back to the inner work. That is so important. And that leads me into the other thing that also has to do with you, because I could hear that when you spoke. I could hear the 29, and I'm looking at the chart and I'm like, oh, interesting. Venus, she's in the 29 right now, and she's saying, it's full devotion, and you need to be a master of devotion. That's the only way to live intoxication if you want to live in the city. And the only way of nurturing a relationship and being empowered in a relationship is when you can say completely yes to that experience, where we have this life force that says yes from the beginning to the end of that experience, no matter what happens, even if it is going into the abyss, which is what the I Ching says about the 29. It's completely in. And the 46 is the love of being here in physical form. So rather than seeing this vessel as a limitation, as a boundary, it is to be so grateful that we got to borrow this for a while, So that feels, and that's what Venus is saying right now. These are the values that are going to help you. They're going to help you be empowered. It's going to help you, even in this chart, kind of points us to the family of the fourth house, but it is a master of devotion. It says, I'm all in or I'm all out. And that's the whole thing where I'm feeling where we are right now, where it could say, oh, I mean, it's okay because I'm 75% in. It's better than many other people. Like, that is the saddest thing ever. But and that's what I feel is the trap. But here Venus comes and she says, no, like, I really want you to be devoted. I want you to be wholehearted, and I want you to be a master of that. All in or all out. Just kind of, like, suck it up if it's not good, and make your decision so that you can say completely yes to the experience, or you can say no. And many times with the 29, it is about learning to say no. And what you're saying, it's about focus rather than saying yes to all these things and then nothing is really done well. So that, that's really alive when I hear you speak and when I know your design as well.
Yeah, it's so interesting how all of these gene keys interrelate through us as individuals to generate movement, even as we attempt to separate each gene key and look at them. Because, I mean, let's be honest, we can't sit here and talk about all 64 gene keys all at once, or even a small handful of them all at once. We can only focus on one thing at a time because of these bodies that we exist in, and looking at how devotion can lead to movement through another gene key like 56. You know, when we have distraction, the desire for connection, whether it's an inward distraction of living in fantasy or an outward distraction of avoiding what's going on inwardly, that gene key 29 really leads you to persevere through those uh, obstacles that are in our way from being able to experience true enrichment. Like when we have activity in our lives, the difference between enrichment and having it drain your life energy is not about what is the nature of the activity. It's what is the nature of your attitude with that activity. Are you all in, as you're saying, with that activity? Are you giving yourself 100% to what you are choosing, no matter how your mind tends to judge the nature of what that activity is? So, one of the challenges I feel like in this 56 gene key is really walking the line between diving all into these activities that can have detrimental consequences, and also engaging in the discipline that is required in order to evolve beyond your present state of being. How can you be something beyond what you're experiencing if you don't have discipline to continually make that choice? I mean, our patternistic way of being tends to promote however we've been in the past. If we've been programmed and conditioned by, which we all are, by society, by our families, by our social structures, how do you become something that is something more than all of that conditioning? When I was thinking about this gene key 56, I was like, oh man, this gene key is all, the shadow at least, it's all about the culture in our society that has grown up around reality television, Instagram, and the types of role models that we see that are popping up all over the world. you can see these people creating these amazing photographs of amazing experiences that are completely false. You know, they're not actually doing the thing. You know, what's one of the most common, I can't remember where it is. It's like these people hanging off this rock that's out into, you know, going out into nothing, and it looks like they're just hanging, you know, like if they dropped, if they let go, they're gonna fall like thousands of feet. But if you see the other angle, like it's only a few feet down to, you just can't see the ground right there. You know, these ways of engaging with these distractions that are available in life to generate some feeling of fulfillment because of the attention that you get, or the number of followers that you can accumulate on social media. All of these things just feel like, oh man, this is the heart of distraction. And when we look at this 56 gene key and going all in, you can go all in through discipline, through wildness, and somehow if you stay with it, it allows you to come out on the other side in this experience of enrichment. So I mean, there's just so much going on in this one, and we can look at it from so many angles. Bella, I'm wondering if you have a just kind of a perspective on this particular place, either where we are right now or this gene key that is really focusing into how does humanity move beyond this particular experience? I mean, here we are in bodies. We're not going to naturally experience ourselves as that which is outside of us. So distractions are always going to be there. I mean, you were telling me right before, there's all this construction work going on, and the amount of stress that generates on the system of just being around this nonstop drilling and, you know, noise and stuff. How do we get around this?
I think it is a provocation also when we realize the distraction that is good. I mean, I went to Equinox today and signed up. And usually, I mean, I was at that gym before because I was traveling so much. And then I was like, I don't need that kind of membership that is so much more expensive than everywhere else. But then there was just something today where I was done with a distraction. I'm like, where can I go where it's actually kind of nice, where I can have a juice, where I can, and then that was my choice. So it did enrich my life, because I wouldn't, if this wouldn't have happened and I knew that it was going to go on for weeks and maybe even longer, I would not have taken that, made that decision that is actually going to enrich my life. Because really, it's not about the price tag. Like, it's not that thing is going to change my life financially at all, because it's not like, but it's, of course, but if I am in that more like the scarcity mind, then I would not go there. So I believe that we are provoked to kind of test us right now. What are you choosing? Are you choosing to bitch about what's going on and that it's so annoying? Or are you seeking something that actually you're pushed to seek a better solution and something that's going to enrich you? And I do feel that there are two codon rings that are very alive. So the first one we spoke about is the codon ring of Gaia. So we have this connection to Mother Earth, the connectedness, not just with other human beings, but really with the earth, with the animals, with nature. And when I'm in distraction, like, I can feel it. If I post a lot of things, I'm a lot of social media, like late at night, because I haven't had time during the day, and I'm going to go to sleep, I can feel all the distraction, how many things are going around in my head. And the best way for me to relax is to listen to nature sounds, or, and ground and feel like whatever I'm laying on, it's a beach, those traditional things that always work if we actually take the time to do them. So the connection with Gaia, the connection with this human resonance, like the gratitude, again, can we be grateful for this body, then also being grateful for the body of Gaia, right? So that's one codon ring that's coming in and saying, this is something to ground you so that you're not biting your tail in that distraction. And the other codon ring that we can see in Venus and Mars. So we have the 29, we have the 4, and Venus is moving into the 59. So it's intimacy, it's commitment, it's understanding, forgiveness, and also Mars is going to move into the 7th, which is the 4th jinki. So the 4, the 7, the 29, and the 59. And the 7 is that inner guidance. So when we have those jinkies, is speaking about union, the way that human beings are relating to each other and coming together in that intimacy, in that commitment, in that inner guidance, in the understanding of each other and the differences. So that's another thing. Like when you have relationships where there is an understanding, when there is a leaning in, when there is a true commitment, that's also what you're going to choose to engage in more than your phone or some other Netflix or whatever distraction. So the quality of your relationships and your commitment to going deep and to building and to nurturing that together with your connection with Earth is something that's really super, super helpful for you to actually see, oh my God, I'm actually wanting to be here during the construction work, not doing anything about it, than being unhappy. No, there are so many other things. Go out and nurture your relationship. Go out and feel the air, the beach, the sand, the mountains, the woods. It's there. And sometimes we forget when we're so caught up in like biting our own tail.
Yeah, I really, it's just so interesting to me how the synergy of all of the various energies just kind of like work together within us, with outside of us, and also, we're in the second line today of that solar gate, and how that when you have that second line, from the standpoint of examining creation, you have the 1, and once there's 2, now there's interactive quality, and even beyond that, that 2 is what's going to engender the divine third. So this sort of encouragement to move beyond what is just the self, what is experienced just as the self within the self, to me, it really brings along the entire focus of where meditation has come from a sort of yogic standpoint, the standpoint of spiritual seeking. And even this gene key 56, which is part of the ring of trials, these are the trials of humanity to move beyond our collective state. So just there's so much in here to look at. If you're watching on Facebook, I want to invite you to sign up for our full moon session on Friday. You'll see the registration link in the comments there. That'll take place at 3 p.m. Eastern with Bella and I, and we will be doing a quantum healing transmission for part of that. So if you're interested in receiving that, please sign up for that, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. For tonight, we're going to continue on with our solar members and move into that transmission portion to continue building on our work every single week. Our solar members have the opportunity to re-watch those discussions and transmissions if they want at any time. Can also join us live for that live transmission. Really awesome. If you're watching on Facebook and want to know more about that, just make a comment and we'll respond to you individually. So thanks for joining us on Facebook. We'll continue on with our members, and hopefully we'll see you on Friday if you can catch that. So